What is up, everybody? It's your girl Kelsey back for another video. Don't mind my background. I don't have any, fancy backdrops or, shit like that. Your girl don't have a budget. So you see the title of this video, you know what it's going to be about. I just thought it would be cute, since I am about to be 26 next week, that I share some things that I've learned at 25. So the first thing that I think I've learned at 25 is the concept of wanting to protect my energy. So first of all, learning what that even means to me. And then secondly, learning how to go about doing that. I always hear people say like, oh, you need to protect your energy, but no one ever really talks about how you do that. And I think it's because it's a unique journey that's going to look different for every single person. The way that I protect my energy is going to look different structurally than what someone else will do. But for me, I've just realized, as I'm getting older, that some people just take. And it is not to the fault of them. That's just how they are. That doesn't mean that they're bad people. But I think that instinctually we start to figure out the people that are draining to us, When we're younger, I think people assume that we have to put up with those things out of obligation. I'm sure everybody has that person in their life who is like, ooh, is so-and-so gonna be there? Like, I love her, but God, she's just so much to deal with. Or like, I don't know, she's so bitchy, or she's so whatever. We all have those type of people in our lives that it's not enjoyable to be friends with them anymore after a certain point. And there are people in your life that are not meant to be in your life forever. They're not. They're meant to come and go, teach you a lesson. You're supposed to keep that lesson and keep it moving. So if Stacy is draining, if she's a bitch, if you're not getting anything from the relationship and she's the only one getting something, then why are you in it? You don't have an obligation to be friends with Stacy. Sorry to anyone watching this named Stacy. But the point is, as human beings, we have full, total, utter control of who we allow in our circles. As I get older, I'm sort of seeing a pattern between how happy I can be and the number of people in my circle. And let me tell you, as my happiness goes up, the number goes down, sis. Let me repeat that.
As my happiness gets higher, my friend count gets lower.
The second thing that I've learned is that transition periods can really teach you a lot about who you are. They can show you a lot of your strengths. They can show you a lot of your deficits or your weaknesses. For me, I'm going through a big transition period in my life right now where the current job that I'm working at, my contract has ended, so I'll no longer be at that job. My current roommate, hey Margie, is going to the University of Washington for grad school, so she's moving away, which means that I wouldn't have a roommate here where we live in San Francisco. I've been having to figure out a lot of things as far as what I want to do for work, where I want to live. Those are the two biggest things, and those are two huge things. So I'm learning a lot about myself as far as like what my strengths are in these processes, as well as what my weaknesses are. And I think that that's a really interesting thing to reflect on, that through transition and change, you learn a lot about yourself. Maybe that's an obvious one, but I just think it's interesting. That leads me right into my next thing that I've learned at 25, which is that change is the only thing you can count on. I know people have talked about those types of things before, and that concept is, not new. I didn't invent the idea that change is the only constant thing. One of my friends was even telling me that the other day, that that's the only thing we can rely on, is the fact that change is going to happen. So I'm really just trying to stay on the path of viewing that as a positive thing and recognizing that the only way that we learn and we grow is through change. who wants to be stagnant? I don't want my everyday to look the exact same. And that's not to say that I'm forced to do that or that I couldn't switch it up and add more into my life, but as of now, that's not what's been happening, which leads me into the next thing, that I realized at 25 that I've been a little bit stuck and come to the revelation that I don't want to be. So through this transition period, I'm trying to figure out what being unstuck looks like for me. So a little bit of background. I went to school for psychology, but then I never went to grad school. I knew that I would experience burnout if I went directly from getting my bachelor's to my master's, so I decided to take some time off. And through that is when I got involved in tobacco control and public health, which is what I do for work. That's not necessarily a passion I ever had. To be fully transparent with you, I'm not sure it's a passion that I have now. It's just where my path has taken me so far. And I always say that as long as I can do some sort of social justice type work, that I'll be fine. And that's a huge umbrella term that can look like a lot of different things. So I'm trying to figure out what moves I can make next that will not make me feel so stuck anymore. And I think finding a new job, finding a new place to live, maybe potentially uprooting everything that I know and moving out of the state will fully shake me out of this stuck funk that I've been in. I don't know. We'll see. So the next few things that I've learned kind of go hand in hand with each other. One of them is the idea that the internet can be a really scary place, but it can actually be a major source of unity and bringing people together. I mean, I knew that, but this year I've fully experienced it. The sun is going down, so if the lighting is changing, it's because of that. Over the past year, I discovered one of my new favorite YouTubers and overall just favorite people, Terrell. For those of you who watch me, you know how much I love him. I somehow find a way to bring him up in every video that I've made, low-key. But through him, I've met so many people online that I can call really close friends. And that's the next thing I wanted to bring up, is that I've never even met people that I'm closest with currently, going into my 26th year of life. And I think that's really interesting. My soul sis Wanda lives in Philly. My BB Jordan lives in Tennessee. My girl Emmy lives in, don't remember, the East Coast. Sorry, girl. So many other people. I'm forgetting lots of people. I have friends who live in Texas. I have people who don't even live in this country. And I think that's crazy that the internet brought me friends who don't even live in my state. Like, maybe that's another thing that isn't, the most wild thing that I've learned. But for me, you know what? No, I'm not going to invalidate my experience. This is just me firsthand learning these things. I've never experienced having friends all over the country before, or even outside of the country. And it's just been really fun to sort of develop those friendships, and they look different, of course, than my in-person relationships. But I think if you meet people that you click with, there's something instinctual, I think, that you should know. There's a little voice in your head, or like something just clicks and it makes sense. Like, oh, this person is meant to be in my life for whatever reason. Not to say that, these people will be in my life forever, because nothing is forever if you want to get existential. But for now, I'm finding so much joy and happiness with these newfound friendships. So for any of you watching who I mentioned, or who fall into that category,
hi, love you. Thanks for bringing joy to my life. You mean the world to me. Ah!
The next thing I wanted to talk about was the concept that dogs are magic. This isn't something that's new, but it's something that's been relevant to me over the past few days, actually. So for those of you who might follow me on Instagram, you might have seen I posted a picture recently about my childhood dog, Patches. I've had him since I was in 4th grade. So you're what, like 9 in 4th grade? It's Friday currently, so I think it was on Wednesday night. He passed away. So I had him for 16 or 17 years. I'm not doing the math right now. And I didn't get him when he was a puppy either. My mom and I got him from the pound, and they said that he was 2 or 3. So we're talking about a 19 or 20-year-old dog. Like, it comes as no surprise that his time was coming. But when I found out that it happened, I found out pretty much right at the beginning of my day, thanks to my brother, which I appreciate. So all day long, I was really, really sad. You know, white people, we're crazy about our dogs. If you want people to care about climate change, remind them that the dogs are going to be affected too. And that's a sure way to get Cindy and Linda over at the country club to donate money. But it just made me reflect on all of the joy and the responsibility and just unconditional love that dogs give you and that they bring into your life. And since then, I've seen so many dogs in the past like day or two, and I don't know if they just sense something in me or they feel that I just need some love, but I've gotten such cute interactions with the most beautiful, magical doggies that aren't Patchy. And so maybe he is sending some of his friends to give me some love because he knows that I need it. I miss that old man. I'm just trying to really be present and grateful for the good times and the lessons that he taught me in this life. The last lesson that I've been learning through this past year is that the messages and the signs that you're meant to hear in this life are there. I just think that you go through things and you learn to be open to them at different times. I think that the universe is constantly sending you messages and lessons that you need to learn, and you're not always ready and open to receive those messages. So I just kind of wanted to end this on a note of encouragement and to just remind people to be open in whatever way that looks like to you. I think through the process of having Patches die over the past few days, I've been in a really like vulnerable, kind of like weepy state, which if some of you who are watching that have known me for a long time, you might say that I'm kind of always in one of those states. I'm an emotional double Gemini. I don't know what you want me to say. I just think that the universe is sending me messages that I need to receive right now. And one of the biggest ones is to just constantly treat myself with grace and to notice the small beauties and the small kindnesses of the world. I've noticed a lot of really lovely, small little interactions over the past few days while I've been in this, vulnerable kind of like open state. And I just think that that's really awesome. I think it's so easy, and I'm a culprit of this as well, to get caught up in all of the negative in life. I mean, it's so hard not to. All you have to do is turn on the news for 5 seconds and you're hit with all of these different socio-political conversations and wormholes that you can just fall into. And I think it's important to be in tune with those things. But I just think it's so important to open yourself up to notice the small good deeds that happen in everyone's daily life. All right, so that's where I'm going to end this video. Hopefully I haven't bored you. Comment down below if any of the messages, comment down below if any of the lessons that I've learned in the past year resonate with you in some way. I'm always open to suggestions about video ideas, things you want to see, things you like, things you don't like. Everyone's a critic these days, so I'm sure there's things I can improve on. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Until next time, love you guys. Bye.